Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for another episode of the AMASHIMA love series. I know you love love, and it's time to love, really. Are you ready for today's version of love? Right on my screen, you are going to meet my baby boo.
Amazing.
Awesome, awesome. So, greet everyone. Baby, go ahead and
Good
greet
evening,
everyone.
everyone. How are we doing? Hope we're having an amazing new month. October is such an incredible month. Part of it is the fact that it's my baby boo's birth month, and it's incredible. So because she's special and she's special to me, so October has automatically become special. And another thing is the fact that I don't know, but I have something. There's something about October people that I
Mm,
can't just explain. So
mm.
it's a pleasure being on this love series tonight. And tonight we're going to be dealing with an interesting topic. And, we'll be dealing with some Ajegunle spirits and everything. So awesome. Glad to have you, baby boo. How you doing? You're looking so cute. You're looking so beautiful. And,
Thank
I can't wait to see you in person and give you a hug.
Aww. All right. It's that season to love and be loved. And of course, like you said, it's my birth month. It's so special that it's going to be amazing. Don't worry, the story is going to be right on your screen. You're going to enjoy it with us. So if it's your first time on my channel, go ahead and click on that subscribe button as well as the bell to get a notification when the next content drops. And if it is your first time on Facebook, go ahead and click on that follow button. If you're not following my baby, his name is Vershima Benedict Deuti. Go ahead and click on that follow button because beyond the love dimension, he is an incredible coach. You are going to regret if you miss productivity, right? So a lot of people are busy but yet unproductive, and he's here to break the bias. He's on a mission to actually build a particular dream again. People have forgotten because they are too busy, they forget to dream again. And of course, that your dream can come alive. Except you follow, you may be able to regret the next 10 years of your life why you did not make that decision. And he's the productivity surgeon, a good to get productivity surgeon that you can think of. I mean, me doing live series every day is as a result of him. And until you become teachable, you may not be able to sap out the resources even after you follow. So don't just follow to become a leader as well. And of course, if you remain teachable and stay due to the process, you are going to get the best out of that. And we can't wait to welcome you to Dream Again community, right? So, welcome to the fourth episode of the Love series. The last time we talked about the intertribal biases, we shared from a point of practical experience how I am the Ada lady from the Igbo tribe, and how my baby boo from Benue State, how those intertribal biases was able to breach. How do I say that? Is it breach the gap, right? Why a lot of people never made their meet their life partners, why they never make the decision to sustain that relationship even when they learn themselves. It happens that intertribal thing is always their barrier, and that is why we brought that light. In that light, we are flipping pages to forever, and you want to be part of that series, you want to be part of that journey, you want to be able to see how beautiful love is, even in a world where there is a lot of adversity and things looks like it's not going well. All you need is love. All you need is love. You can type that in the comment section right there. So while you are joining, let me know where you're connecting from. And my baby boom is too serious, which I don't know why. I think he should be smiling to the audience.
My God.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk about how you can be able to manage conflict. For the fact that we are from different tribes, for the fact that we have religious differences, there is a lot of differences. And I myself have my own piece of cake where a lot of differences, I struggle to be understood. There are a lot of
I think
communication
maybe
gap
you
here.
should move your this thing closer to your mouth. Move the earpiece closer to your mouth so that it can be more audible.
Okay, so
The
how about
move Move it closer, maybe, so that you can be more audible. No, the mouthpiece of your earpiece. So talk now, let me hear.
So I think it should be more audible by now.
Okay, it's just still the same, so you can leave it. Let's see.
The audience hears me more than my client.
Oh, okay. So let's go ahead.
Okay, so basically, I was saying something about our topic today, and this topic is a part of topic that people break into their relationships. I myself have my own piece of cake, like I said. A lot of my relationship, past relationship, have actually ended because I lacked the ability to manage conflict. I didn't know that was what I lacked. And you might be that my past self in that relationship, right? And that's why we want to address it so that you can actually get it better. And remember what I always say, um, it is done is not the way I'm done is not the way it is done, right? Until you make it work, it will never work. So, as a result of that, we are going to talk about how you can manage conflict, understanding that conflict is something that connection creates, as my baby boo will always say. So, it's something that you should always expect in any
I think you
relationship.
can
This,
display it. You can display it on the screen so that they can see the topic we're dealing with.
okay.
Uh,
So,
it's an error
so
there. I
basically,
don't know. Okay, go ahead.
okay. So, basically, in that particular process, like I said, right, I am done is not the way it is done, right? Until you make it work, it will not work. So, and I was trying to make a point about managing conflict, understanding the power of conflict in your relationship. That is something that is very necessary if your relationship must work, right? If your relationship must work, expect conflict. And that's why love does not sustain your relationship. The knowledge we are going to share with you is what helps you, right? And you want to get our book, but we'll talk about that by the end of this series, right? Or maybe in between, because we shared a lot from practical experience. And so, being about that, I'm going to start with my baby boo, right? Are you ready for me, baby?
Sure, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Let's go.
So, I want to find out from you, what is your own understanding when it comes to conflict?
Okay, that's a profound question because you see, you guys can write this down. What you cannot define overwhelms you. What you cannot define overwhelms you. And whatever you cannot define, you cannot modify. And so when you look at the word conflict, it's two words joined together, con and flict. Con has to do with two, you know. So it's two different ideas. It talks of disagreement, it talks of a clash, a rift, a misunderstanding, right? And a misunderstanding, it means there is a knowledge gap. So that's the first understanding I have about conflict. So I see conflict as an invitation to education, an
Hmm.
invitation to learn. Because like my spiritual father will always say, Prophet IT Solomon, he will always say that the purpose of relationship is to know and be known. So I know that conflict is a sign that there is a knowledge gap somewhere, and that has to be addressed. And so, based on that, so first, okay, I think that's what I understand as conflict. So, should I talk about how I deal with it, or I think that should be it, so that I don't get to prolong and start explaining a lot of things which we can still do in the midst of the conversation. But finally, I understand conflict to be a disagreement, a clash of interest, an invitation to learn. Is a sign that there's something that either I do not know or something that I am not seeing correctly. Because all of us will see things through our own lens. So I view conflict as that opportunity where you have the opportunity to now see things from this person's lens, or help the person see things from your own lens, or and then, so let me stop there. So over to you. What do you understand
Oh,
conflict as?
awesome. I'm going to standing on the existing protocol, right? So I'm going to come from the point of, when you say something about to know and be known. We don't always know ourselves. And some things, by virtue of conversations, a lot of things are going to come into place to form that clash. And if you know about the law of motion by Isaac Newton. I think the second law. He talked about the power of collision. The essence of forces colliding into each other. And so we are energy, we are masses, and we are meant to collide. And in that particular space, there are some information that when it comes, it has to clash until we come to a point where we realize that we need to be able to adjust things to complement. Because until that information is out and it doesn't go well with you or it doesn't go well with him, we'll now be able to say, okay, how do we bring this together? That's where the conversation for complementing each other comes in. And I see conflict as a necessity for every relationship to work. I think that the existence of conflict exhibits the authenticity of that relationship. Because a relationship that lacks conflict, it's not true. There is no way you will not come to that point where you won't have a clash. And also, what creates conflict is that connection, like you said. And I think the connection here is that there is a point of my strength, there's a point of my weakness that needs to meet your strength and your weakness. And when it brings to the table, until we get into that awareness of knowing them, will not be able to know to be known if we don't come into conversation of resolving that conflict. So that's what creates that misunderstanding because of our inability to actually manage them. So I think for me, any relationship that is void of conflict lacks authenticity, and conflict is a necessity to keep the relationship going. And as a matter of fact, married people will tell you that their season of reconciliation is always the best. You can ask around.
That what? I didn't get that.
Married people will always say that their season of reconciliation is always incredible.
It's always, I don't know, your voice
Incredible.
is low. Okay, okay, it's always incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I think, should I ask you the next question or you ask me?
Yes. So about the next question, how about my voice now?
Okay, I think it's better now. You're
Okay.
looking
So
so
I
beautiful.
want to find out from you, how do you deal with this conflict? Understanding that conflict is a necessity and it's a platform to know and be known, right? How do you deal with this conflict? Because we know that we can't do without this conflict. How do we navigate this? Because I think this is the problem a lot of relationships are having, to see the other side of the beauty of their relationships.
Okay, so I learned something very powerful from my spiritual father. I think that was about 4 to 5 years ago, and he said something very profound. He said, whenever you have a problem with your partner, deal with the issue, not the person.
Hmm.
Deal with the issue, not the person. And
Hmm.
so, because I understand that it is um, a a knowledge problem, first of all, because you love this person, but by reason of as a matter of fact, like you said, connection creates conflict. It's a sign that, because in physics, you discover that they talk about friction. So conflict is like friction that is happening between the machines. Knowledge is what brings the lubricating oil. It's like the engine oil that comes to lubricate the machine and make it work effectively. So because I understand that, every time I anticipate conflict. I remember while we were in while we started our relationship earlier this year, less than 6 months into our relationship, it got to a point where every weekend we were having conflicts. And
Ladies and
it got to
gentlemen, this man always make me cry.
why are you now? I'm not a bitter. Oh. I've never bitter. Oh. Ah, it's too much love for me. That's why she used to be crying. But when you told me that, I was now wondering, like, because you now told me that you used to be scared of weekend. So, and somehow you will always commit, and I will vex, and everything. But because I understood that it was a knowledge problem, my approach to dealing with conflict is first of all teaching. So, in order to be able to deal with conflict, I'll just mention one or two things. The rest, they can find it in the book. But one of the critical things we had to do in order to deal with conflict is, I'll mention just two or three, right? You'll find about 5 to 7 in the book. I'll mention 2 to 3. So the first thing we agreed upon was, because we had to set rules to guide our behavior, because you know laws guide behavior. So one of the rules we set was no use of vulgar words, no insult, no raising of voice, no rules, no insults, no vulgar words, no shouting, talk. And so because of that, it also it just made me know, and as a person, I know that I can be very sarcastic. I know that I'm a word person. So if I decide to wire you cord with my mouth, you will feel like dying. So because I know that whenever I'm angry, I don't talk. I just keep quiet and I'm alone. And because I don't have an anger issue, I have a rage issue. Because I'm very quiet and because I'm very quiet, I can be angry and I can't do you anything. So because of that, if I'm angry, I love to most times just be quiet, stay on my own, deal with it. Because sometimes I will be so angry that I won't be able to sleep. So because of that kind of anger level, I know that God is not going to come and deal with it. It is my issue to manage. And I believe that the confidence of my woman should grow. I shouldn't be the one who diminishes her confidence. And so because of that, one, we set that rule. So already we've dated, I think 8 of this month will be 11 months, right? Since we've been dating month. And we've never insulted, nobody has been called stupid, foolish, all those, you will never hear it in our relationship. So that's one thing we were able to establish. The second thing was that you don't sleep with your anger. If there's a conflict, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. And then last but not the least, I think the best approach, which I think has worked, is even when I want to rebuke you for something I don't like, I will first of all teach you the right thing. So normally I'll first of all start the lecture. Inside the lecture, when I finish teaching you, I can, which I think has been able to help, because there's no point me shouting at you, letting you know I'm angry, and I then don't teach you what you need to do differently. So I think there are more things we dealt with in order to deal with conflict. We even agreed on some certain practices that we'll do when we get married in order to resolve conflict as well. But I think you'll find more of that in the book. So one, we agreed that no use of vulgar words. You can't insult someone. I've never raised my voice at my boo boo in the 11 months or so, although she has changed it for me many times. And sometimes I'll just look at her like this and I'll say, are you just raising your voice? Then she will now become like a poured water on her body. But it is just what it is. So for me, those are the ways I'm able to deal with conflict. We talked about more. Like I said, there are about 7 ways we talked about how we even intend to reconcile conflict when we are married, right? But these are the three that I think anyone can apply right now. If you're angry, you don't need to talk because you say things that you will regret later, right? So, Bubu, over to you. How do you deal with conflict? How do you used to deal with it before? How do you now deal with it differently now? Over to you.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much. And I'm going to be very practical with my responses because you see this man.
I can't hear you. Why is your voice very low? Can you increase your volume? Maybe you should raise your voice a little bit.
How
As a
about now?
soprano now.
How about now?
Okay, go ahead now.
Okay, maybe I'm not talking loud. How about now?
Yes, that's my power woman, my paid
So
speaker.
I'm going to come from a very practical perspective on how I deal with conflict in this relationship, right? This man here is powerful with words. If he talks to you, you will die the next day. So most of the time, I'm always defensive about the way he speaks. But one of the things that I love about him that has
Your
helped
voice
us manage
is low
conflict.
again. Can you increase it? Can you increase your voice? It's low.
Okay, so let me get a feedback from the audience. Let me know if you can hear me.
I can hear you, but it is low.
I don't know what is wrong, but I'm fine.
Okay, let them let us know in the comment section if they can hear us.
Okay, so going on, I was trying to make a point actually, right? In this relationship, like I said, his mouth is very sharp to an extent that if you don't hold your heart tight, you will be dealt with. Like he said, he wires cord. His cord is just with his mouth. And one of the things is that understanding the language of your partner is very, very critical. And understanding your role as a woman and as a man in area of all of these things is key, right? Just know your place in all of these things and understand that you and your partner, you're not in a competition. It's not a competition. You're already partners. What are you really fighting for? There is a way to think through when you are angry. Because whenever we are angry, we always remember the negative things that people do and forget about the positive ones they do. And as my people will always say, your foolishness is always at the proximity when you are angry. So one of the standards that we placed in our relationship was that whenever we are angry, we don't leave the call. And that has been helping him to actually, as a man, which is usually the stone wall. They don't want to talk, although we can be talking and thinking, but it's not the same for them. But coming into that alignment and complementing each other, right? Obeying the law of love and respect. We just have to be able to apply that particular standard and boundary in our relationship because myself and my personality, most of the time, he's the one that taught me as a woman to say whatever I want, right? Where I'm coming from, our orientation of submission is that whatever the man says, whether it's foolish or not, just go ahead. But for him, oh yes, member, he doesn't like it. He needs someone who make contributions and everything. The essence of the reading and you knowing something and knowing what you want in the first place, that's what is going to help you. So when that happens, as reading people, there is always this clash of information, probably from what I have heard from where I'm coming from and the history of where he's also coming from, right? I want to find out if you're still there, baby boy. You're just standing still, right? Okay.
Okay, can you see me now? At some point, I couldn't, my network went off. Okay, go ahead. So,
Okay.
the last thing I heard you talk about was the fact that when there's a conflict, we set a standard. That was why I lost you.
So you said where you lost me was where?
When you talked about we set a standard, you talked about code, then you said a standard.
Yes. I was talking about the standard of whenever we are angry, right? Whenever we are angry, we don't sleep that night without resolving what that thing is. And like he said, that you resolve the issue and not rebuke the person. So the thing is this, what you need to, most of the times, one of the strategy why men will always stonewall is because they are logical thinkers more than we are emotional thinkers. And so why they stonewall is because they actually want to think it through, to come from a logical perspective, because they always like to fix things. Until you understand this as a woman, you'll be ranting like a dog and make a lot of mistake. And so the basic thing here is having this particular understanding as your role as a woman, becoming soft. There are sometimes that when he used some certain words, even when I have something to say, I'll just start crying. Just by virtue of him seeing my cry, he will just pay attention and call back himself, call back himself into communicating with a dimension of love and respect. And it's something I actually respect him for, because there are some men, even if whatever you do, they don't even care. And for the fact that he is also a believer, the Holy Spirit is holding on to his life. There is this impartation that comes with it when it comes to managing conflict. Understanding what the word said is very, very critical, and what it reminds you each time you have conflict with the person. That's why knowledge is what sustains you. There is not love there. Because at that moment, anger is already existing. You don't even know what is love at the moment. So you as a woman, because I'm coming from the dimension of a woman, because most of the time we are always the problem. Now, the thing here is that whenever it comes to anger, right? Whenever it comes to anger, please know your place. A man will always want to fight battles. That's why he's always ready to fix things. If you carry yourself into that realm of fighting the battle, he will win you no matter what you do. So, the understanding your place is all about you becoming soft and firm as a woman, bringing your feminine energy to the table. Okay, baby, I'm an emotional person. He's very logical. As he's thinking about, okay, how are we going to fix this thing? I'll be able to start expressing my feelings. Now, this is what I feel about this. And I think this, and you should be able to be open to actually resolve it. And that is why every woman should actually be teachable. You being teachable helps you to be open for these conversations for amendment. If you're not open to amend every difficulty, what is going to happen is that it will be a compound effect, and it will wait for you the time you begin to share a lot of regret. See, relationship is to be enjoyed, including marriage, to be enjoyed instead of endured. And until you begin now to work on your ability to enjoy it, you will not be able to enjoy it later. Because if you just focus on, let's go and buy shawarma, let's go and do this, and you don't talk about the main deal, what is going to happen is that when you get to your marriage, the law of karma is very real. The golden rule is very real. All these laws are going to come and invest in you, and you'll be thinking that you don't even know the man you married, you don't even know this thing you did. You look so confused if you made the right decision. My dear, you made the right decision. The point is that you did not see clear to be able to resolve every issue. So the mentality of resolving every issue is why that standard came into place. And that is why we will not sleep that day if we did not talk about it. Now, why do we give ourselves that full day to actually talk about it? Is because there is a dimension of retreat, so that we will not be at that proximity of foolishness to talk about it. Sometimes you just have to retreat. Sometimes he desire to keep quiet for some time, but still stay on the call. There are different strategies to this thing. You just need to understand yourself, and at the realm of conflict, you also get to understand your partners, right? And one thing that happens here is that when a man sees that you are willing to resolve things with him, see, let me tell you, you will not have much of the problem. Things will begin to go well. What I want to advise women in the area of managing conflict in love relationship is that we should stop fighting. We are not in any competition. There's nothing we are actually fighting for. It's not a realm of justice, it's a realm of peace. Until you choose the realm of peace, you will not be able to manage conflict. And so, one thing, like I said, now let me organize my thoughts. The first thing I said here is that because of that standard, we were able to have a time to retreat, think, and come beyond the emotional thought to actually fix the issue. Because the issue is not the person, it's actually the problem. You want to focus on the main problem. And that's why you want to deal with it, because you don't want it to happen again as a compound effect of endurance in your nearest future. So next thing you want to do, and that alone also helps him to manage his dimension of stonewalling, and also manage my dimension of fighting and ranting, is very, very critical for peace to reign. Secondly, I talked about you understanding your place as a man and understanding how a woman works, obeying the law of love and respect. You need to be able to understand that. And then when that happens, you will see that there is no competition here. You're already partners. So you want to fix things so that you have that combined energy, complement each other to make everything move. Now, the last thing is that when I talked about him making me to cry and that touching him, crying is not a state for blackmail. You want to understand that because I need to mention it for a lot of ladies. Crying is not a dimension to blackmail them. It's a dimension of you expressing that your emotional part of you as a woman being soft. So you can express yourself in different dimensions. It's okay. It's okay for you to cry. It's a platform to be naked and unashamed. So you want to be able to express yourself. That is why crying is not the only thing. You can just be sad. He can actually look at your countenance, right? And understanding your place will be able to, and understanding him as a woman, obeying that law is also going to help you to know when you are stepping outside the boundary or when you are going overboard. Is going to keep you cautious. See, if you have this mentality, whatever problem that comes, this thing at the back of your mind will always remind you that, see, I'm not fighting with you. Let's fix this thing because we are in this together. That mindset is the only thing that keeps you from managing any kind of conflict, whether it is money, especially money matter, whether it is money, whether it is external forces, whatever it is that is challenging you in your relationship. Understanding these things at the back of your mind is very, very critical. And then understand the when, why, how to communicate whenever you want to resolve the issue. You can be saying the truth, but the way you say that can even cause more problems. So you need to be able to understand the when, the how, and the why. You should be able to say that. That's why in this period of 24 hours, we take our time to think, and we take our time to actually think by retreating, not to stonewall, but to think about it and be able to resolve it from a logical point of view in order that the relationship will bring more fusion instead of confusion. So for me, this is how I have learned so far. Based on the knowledge that we share, that's why you need to read books. And that's why you need to buy that page by page forever. If you don't flip pages of the book, you will be in the euphoria, oh, I love him, I love that. The day anger will come, you will keep crying for nothing because you are not talking. So you need an expression when it comes to communication and be willing to actually manage conflict if you want peace to reign. And understand that it is peace over justice. You are not fighting your partner. You are trying to fix things in order to collaborate more with your combined energy to actually make things work and enjoy this love, which is called beautiful thing. So that is all for me and how the rest of the things that we share. This is just the tip of an iceberg. By the time you get our book or a page by page to forever, you are going to learn a whole lot from this particular book. So that's just my point. But for you, just before we end, right, this particular session, I want to find out from you basically, how do you think this conflict has helped our relationship, right? And what has really changed in our approach of managing this conflict? You know, so far we've applied some particular principles. How has it changed anything, and how has it helped our relationship? I want to find out from you.
Okay, so like I said, I do not see conflict as something that is bad. I believe that every healthy relationship, just like you said, needs conflict. Conflict, complacency in the relationship, and makes you come alive again. And so, one of the things that I think this conflict has helped me to really do is one, conflict has helped me to know myself.
Yeah.
Because there are some thoughts
Same
I
here.
think when I'm
Really
angry,
deep.
and I'm like, oh boy, you're a believer. Oh. You are not supposed to be thinking this kind of thing. You are very wicked. Oh. So it helps me to see the part of me that needs God, right? Then secondly, it also helps me to know you. Because I remember we've had conflicts where that was where I was not able to explain to you my values. That this thing you are doing is conflicting with my values, and I might not be able to stay in this relationship again if you keep doing this. You know, so It's a platform for education, for learning, because if people begin to approach conflict from the standpoint of learning instead of attacking the other person, I think they'll be able to make more progress in their relationships. Because I see it that way. I remember last week we had a conflict as well, you know. And one thing is, after we have that conversation and we're able to really talk about the thing, because in a conflict, one of the things I believe is whatever I believe is what I've already known. I need to be open to see from the other person's standpoint. So most people have to become open-minded. If you're not open-minded, you won't be able to sap the juice out of conflict. So in our own case, I'm always open-minded to see what the other person is saying. And I'm not ashamed of saying sorry. Why? I feel that if I wrong someone outside, I always say sorry. Then how come the woman I love, what's happening? I'm seeing myself becoming very small. Okay. Why will the woman I love, one of the most important person in my life, if I'm now, if I have a conflict, I won't be able to say sorry? That's stupidity. So because I am not a stupid person, I'm always willing to say, I'm sorry, forgive me. I missed it here. And life goes ahead. So for me, nothing has bonded us more than when we have had conflicts. Because in those moments, I'm able to learn you beyond the words. I'm able to see the good heart. I'm able to see the kindness with which, the respect with which you want to communicate, even when you are angry and you are not happy about something. It's a big deal. So I think conflict is that thing that increases the fusion between both of us, because every conflict will now make me, my love for you will just increase, the affection. I want to pay more attention to you. I want to be more careful with my words and with my attitude and everything. So I think conflict is what tightens the glue, but it has to be seen rightly. It has to be seen as a learning opportunity, and people are going to learn more how we're able to deal some of the experiences, some of the conflicts we had specifically. We talked about them in the book, and definitely you want to get them so that you are able to see the scenario and the context with which we're able to apply this thing practically. So, Bubu, over to you, my love, sweetheart.
I think for me, when you said a platform to learn, it's critical for me. I think over time, I've been able to see the dimension of which I manage conflict change over time because of the approach you bring to the table. And for the fact that it's coming from first the word of God. Because truly, this thing, the word of God said that it is wisdom that a house is built, and by understanding, I can't remember, something is established, right? So that
Is
thing alone,
established, and through knowledge, the rooms are filled with riches. That's Proverbs
yes.
24.
So okay. So that particular point, right, is the summary of all of these things. You see that they did not say that love, through love, a house is built. It is not by love a house is established. It is not. What are they? It is by knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Until you feast with knowledge, you will still be struggling, because the devil will always come to separate. He doesn't like relationship, and that's why he loves people who are ignorant. And he will always use your unused mind to be able to cause commotion, right? So it's time, for you to save yourself all of these things. There is a lot to talk about. And that's why we're able to pen this down in our book, page by page, to forever. You want to flip that page so that you go through your love journey with all excitement. And you need to be able to understand the dimension of conflict to actually enjoy this love that is actually a beautiful thing. You need it more than ever before. I never knew that I was not meant to fight for my right. I came to understand based on the way the knowledge I've gained so far of what we have shared and the dimension he brings to the table has been able to help me to learn about myself and get myself better at this thing. I am a networking strategist, and most of the things that we share in the relationship inspires me in the dimension I relate with people as well. Right? So there is a lot about me that has been revealed based on the fact that whenever we resolve this conflict, we become more happier. But many people do not experience this other side because they don't give themselves the opportunity to do so. And that's why this love thing will not be for everybody until you begin to feast with knowledge. And that's why our book is the best, is one of the best resource you need to get, because there are a lot of packages that comes with this. We are going to give you a bonus where you will be able to access all the resources that we have been able to consume. Because true knowledge is what riches. You said something about that, but I know that is by wisdom a house is built. What incorporates your wisdom is not, you cannot get the result beyond what you know. You can't. Except you know, you can now be able to take action to see result. What if you don't know? What do you act on? You will still be doing the same old thing that will not be working. And you'll be doing trial and error, whereas you have seen people who have been able to have practical experience and been able to document it. So it's worth priceless. What we are giving to you here is just the tip of an iceberg. There is a lot to talk about, and that's why that page by page book is for you. So if you want to order, it's just for 3,000 naira a pre-order before it launches this October. In this October, after the launch, you are now going to be able to get it for just 5,000 naira. Now, Boo Boo, you have to help me to convert this to dollars for people who are going to register or want to get the copy all over the world, because the particular book we are bringing to
Okay,
your
I
doorstep
think in
is not just
dollars,
for June. Go ahead.
in dollars, the dollars at pre-order price, and then after launch is gonna be $4. So it's as simple as that. Listen, guys, let me tell you something. A research has shown that 3 out of 4 marriages will break within the first 1 year, first 1 to 5 years. And most of those marriages break not because the people didn't love themselves,
Yeah.
but because they never sought the right knowledge. Because you see, what makes a right or wrong partner is not gender, it is ignorance. And so here is an opportunity, because I know definitely you've spent 3,000 naira this week. How are you going to feel if in the next 5 years, depending on when you get married, your marriage is coming to a close? And it is because of something you never knew or discussed. Feel that 3,000 is the reason why your relationship didn't work. And for some, they are still married boys just because they are frustrated in the marriage, but they don't want to leave so that society will not say they are divorced. So they are living a nightmare.
Yes, sir.
Why should you live in that kind of state when 3,000 can save you from that? See,
Yes,
every
sir.
single day for the last 11 months, there's been no day we didn't talk. And I'm not scared of picking her call that what she's going to. No, I'm always excited. In short, there was a time the woman of God told me that let's be talking 5 hours every day. This is networking strategies. I told her that I can't be talking 5 hours with you and still be very productive. So we had to devise a way to communication, but that is because it's always enjoyment, it's always exciting. There have been days where we've spoken for 5 hours, and I'm like, wait, boo boo, it's already 11 o'clock, oh, and we started speaking by 6 a.m. It's crazy. And this happens if we don't take control, we can talk throughout the day. Is it because we do not have conflicts? we have conflicts, but we understand what it takes to resolve them and still maintain the love. So you can apply this in your relationship, and all you need and all that is going to help you get that today is as little as 3,000. Let 3,000 naira not be the reason why tomorrow you come and you reach out to me, coach, help me. At that time, I'll charge you like 150K. But now you can get this book for as little as 3,000. And the funny thing is, after the launch, these bonuses might not be there again. So you want to take advantage of this now so that you can grab the bonuses, because after the book is launched, you won't get all those bonuses. But definitely, the value you're going to get from this book is going to be 20 times whatever you're paying. I
Yes,
guarantee
sir.
you, because we shared real life practical experiences, how we're able to deal with the we were able to deal with my in-laws who were very difficult initially, how we're able to deal with our misunderstandings in different areas and everything, and then how we've been able to maintain. Because I don't know about you, but this has been my best relationship. I know for her as well, because the way she has fought for me, ah, sometimes self, I don't say that, what is it that I've done to this woman that is making her to love me like this? It's crazy. So go ahead and pre-order that book. You can have harmony, bliss, and joy in your relationship. And we know that we're just getting started, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead and pre-order the book. So Bubu, over to you.
So I don't know. My baby has said everything, and I think that a word is enough for the wise. If you have been following through the series, you don't have any other way not to be convinced to get this book, because the journey is still far. There's a lot of pages to be flipped here. Until you get into this space, you will just be experiencing lack in abundance. And you don't want that to be your testimony, right? So it is time you are able to buy your future now while it's cheap. So you can be able to enjoy your relationship rather than endure with regrets. So let 3,000 naira, like he said, not be a barrier for you not to enjoy your relationship and enjoy the beauty of love. And let not this opportunity, right, not pass you by the bonuses that we attach to it. It's gonna be a full blown channel that is going to help a lot of people in their love relationship while we flip these pages. And we can't wait to be able to see you on the inside, because that's where the major gist is, right? So if you're not following Coach Veshima Benedict Deoti, go ahead and click on that, because he talks a lot about productivity. He conducts productivity clinic and everything. And if you have been able, if you are lost on the way of life, right, it's time to dream again. And he is building the Dream Again community. I am part of the Dream Again, of course, the first lady of Dream Again, and it's somewhere that I know that I recommend
Come
you
on
should
now.
go. Let's come, let's nurture you to actually dream again and live the best of your life, because you don't want to you don't want to you know contribute in the cemetery. No, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to die empty. And you no longer have to be busy but yet unproductive, because you can actually be moving but not making progress. So he is going to help you to be able to take that your dream to a whole new level. And you will be shocked that the things you have been struggling with for over 5 years is compressed in 6 months just by virtue of tapping into his resources. And that's his brain, because that brain is mind blowing. So imagine the kind of brain that can capture a first class graduate, that kind of thing, right? So it's time you be able to be able you it's time for you to actually tap into that space to be able to live the best of your life. If you still have anything to tell the audience, I think I'm done. And I want to let you know that I love you, baby boy. And I know that this love is going to be an extension to inspire a lot of people, a lot of nations and countries, to be able to enjoy the beauty of love and be able to follow the right principle from the biblical point of view, to actually enjoy what God has created more than it is to struggle to survive. Over to you, baby, before we go.
Awesome, guys. Go ahead and pre-order. go ahead and pre-order. That's the best decision you're going to make. Because
Yeah.
listen, life is lived one. Life is not a rehearsal. You shouldn't come and be frustrated in your relationship.
Yeah.
You should not come and be frustrated in your relationship. It should be from
Yeah.
one level of bliss to the other. And the key to that bliss is pre-ordering that book today. So go ahead, pre-order the book, join the wait list. If you want to join the wait list with the intention to pre-order. But go ahead, don't procrastinate. Lest I forget, if you procrastinate, last week my boo boo was sharing with me how a guy said he wanted he liked her and he's in another location. He procrastinated. Me, I was in another location. I shot my shot. And now we're getting married. Guess what? The boy is coming to come and buy the book we have written. Why? He procrastinated. Do not procrastinate on this.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead so that you learn how to shoot your shot online. I spilled the beans of how I was able to shoot my shot and how I was able to get her to tell me yes. And trust me,
Mm.
I said everything there. So go ahead and
Yes,
pre-order the
sir.
book. Talk now. Go ahead and pre-order. Love you, baby boo. You are
And we
the
are
best thing that
going.
has happened to me
Yeah.
in the last. You're the best thing that has happened to me in the last 1 year. And
Uh-huh.
every single day I thank God for your life. You are truly amazing. And I feel so privileged to have you in my life. Thank you for choosing to do this with me. It's incredible. This is a dream come true. And until we see next week, understand that
Yeah.
love is still a beautiful thing, and
Yeah,
ignorance
baby.
will stop you from enjoying the power of love. Mwah.
Yes, sir. I love you too, and we celebrate you guys. Good night. I'm going to see you